So the man was left by himself, incomplete and all alone.
He didn't have a name?
Of course he had a name. His name was Edward.
Hey, yo, In Madness family. Put on about 5-10 pounds since the last time we spoke, I do believe. It is episode, I believe, 139 of the premiere podcast, In Madness Pod. It is a still food comaed Shawn the Butcher and a sick comaed Vertebrae 33. How's it going?
Shawn, I'm doing all right.
I'm gonna
get through this episode. I hope I don't drive people nuts.
Shawn, I'm all right.
Imagine if this is my new radio voice.
I mean, this is how you make a living right here.
Wow. I'm all right.
I'm glad. How was your Thanksgiving? You have a good Thanksgiving? Besides everything that happened?
Yeah, besides the plague, besides receiving the bubonic plague, I'm fine.
How do you do vitamins? You do the multivitamin and the extra vitamin C and whatnot?
I do, and I started doing elderberry as well.
Yeah, that's good. Mother swears by the elderberry.
But Shawn, when it wants to get you, it's gonna get you. Doesn't matter.
Well, thank you for joining us, Vertebrae, and thank you for listening, the In Madness Psychopaths, to the premiere podcast on the socials at In Madness Pod. To interact with us, inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Let's start putting it out there now. See how many millions we get. We maybe do a year in review at the very end of the year. So if you've been listening for part of the year, the whole year since the inception of this thing 3 years ago, send us your favorite In Madness moment of the year on the socials at inmadnesspod, inmadnesspod@gmail.com. We take voice notes as well as emails. You can check us out on YouTube. Brady's going to be blowing his nose and showing all sorts of mucus out there. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, give us the 5-star reviews. Check out the In Madness Spotify playlist, which we're absolutely adding music to after this episode. We add music after every single episode. Happy In Madness Monday if that's when you're listening. Tell everybody you know about this show for the holiday season. Tell your friends and family about In Madness Pod. You can get them a shirt. You can get them a mug at inmadness.com. What mug does your sick ass have for this episode, Vertebrae? Is it a little tea in there, a little tea bag?
There's green tea in my mug. The problem is, Shawn, I'm not able to pick up the mug.
He's has scissor hands. Look at Vertebrae's props on our YouTube.
I wish I could.
Wait, don't move.
Don't
move. I have to take a picture of this for the socials. I'm going to post that on our socials. Look at these scissor hands he has.
Listen to him, Shawn. They're going.
Oh my God! Don't! I thought you were going to cut your beard off.
Oh, it doesn't. It's not as close. Hold on. Let me. I had other hands, and then the guy who built me, I don't know. He decided to build like a whole bunch of other stuff before he actually gave me hands. And makes absolutely no sense.
And then died at the worst possible time.
I have an In Madness.
Oh, sick! And you also have an In Madness shirt, I think.
I am.
Look at this.
I'm president of the In Madness.
Not only is he the president,
me and my fellow emo kids are hanging out in the corner, being real sad. Shawn, there's snow falling outside.
It's been a very emo couple of weeks. In the In Madness Penitentiary, we were talking about Frankenstein, which didn't even happen on purpose. It was sort of a natural thing that happened because of the new Frankenstein on Netflix. And this movie, very much a Frankenstein movie.
It is, yes. And it's in my notes a few times. Very Frankenstein. We get the townspeople. We've got the creation. We'll get
into it. Tell them, what are we doing? You voted for this, psychopaths.
Yes, everyone voted for this. It was a landslide.
Most people
victory.
Voted for this.
Yes, everybody wanted to get nice and sad for the holidays. But we're doing Edward Scissorhands, which comes out in 1990, directed by Tim Burton. Tim Burton of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, Batman, Batman Returns, Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, Sleepy Hollow, Big Fish, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride. He's the executive producer on Wednesday. Very distinct Burton style. Shawn, as I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking, I bet you Shawn doesn't like Tim Burton as much as I do, because he doesn't like Guillermo del Toro as much as I do, and they ride along the same auteur lines.
This is the fun part about being Shawn the Butcher. I fucking love Tim Burton. I'm not a fan of every single thing he's ever done, but I mean, Batman alone immediate is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to me. And yeah, this movie as well, Sleepy Hollow as well, Nightmare Before Christmas as well. So many things that he has his hand in. I am very much a fan of the way that he does it, the way that he executes it, the emotion that he draws out of it. It's still super emo, but I feel like it's done. I like the way he does it better than your pal GDT. No, I'm a huge Burton fan.
Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like I'll not like something, but I'll really like something that's very similar to the thing that I don't like. So that's where it's just like people are like, what's wrong with you? Why are you like this? So I do. I'm a huge Tim Burton fan.
I think I told this story on an older episode of the podcast, but it is the Edward Scissorhands episode. So I will tell it very quickly. If you're a long-time listener, you know this story already. If you're not, and you're just tuning in because you caught one of our It clips on Instagram and you just started following us, quickly, I had a job at Sam Goody, and that's going to age us, Shawn, when I say Sam Goody, because half the audience probably doesn't know Sam Goody. And my first day on the job, the dorm house that I lived in at the Joe Kubert School in North Jersey was having a Halloween party that I was kind of leading. So I arrived at work dressed like Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, cool!
I had made the Scissorhands out of cardboard and tinfoil. I had long hair at the time, so today I've mussed up my hair a little bit for this episode, but I had it like crazy, basically Robert Smith hair, which is what it's inspired by, right? And a little bit of Tim Burton hair in there too. But so I arrived to work that day, first day, and they're like, "Oh, great, the kids are trick-or-treating. So like you could just stand out front and like give candy." So I took pictures of people, I gave out candy. And then it was time I wanted to get out of there so I could go to the party. And it's such a bad employee. My first day, I couldn't wait to get out. And it got towards the end of the night, and I went to the manager, and everybody has to straighten the CDs. Again, this is aging. It's a store where they sold tons of CDs. You got to straighten up the store before you leave, Shawn. And I essentially went to him just like Edward. It's like they said, hug me. And I said, I can't. I basically was like, I can't straighten the CDs. And they were like, oh, yeah, that's fine. You could go. So I probably pissed off all of my new coworkers the first day I was employed.
Did they fire you right immediately after?
No, I stayed there for a while, and I was a good employee. But yeah, my first day, I was Edward Scissorhands.
Do you have pictures of that?
I don't know, Shawn.
Yeah,
that's just so long ago. There's no phone.
There weren't cameras invented back then. Yeah.
No. Yeah. It was a guy under a lamp he was under the cloth, and they have the powder. Or it was like the Flintstones where they have the bird who's just chipping away.
And Vertebrae still very much lives in the shadows.
Yeah, well, I think somebody probably has it. It probably I don't know many of those people anymore, but you get those plastic throwaway cameras, right? So, but Shawn, this movie comes out of Burton's feelings of isolation and being able to communicate with people around him in suburban Burbank, California. And there are a lot of people who view this movie as an allegory for autism. Burton himself has said he believes he's on the spectrum. So it comes out of a drawing that he had done.
I didn't know any of that. I gotta post all these on the socials.
Yeah, it's a drawing of a thin, sad dude with blades for fingers. So
pretty metal.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to go? You want to go through the highlights of the cast, Shawn?
I mean, there were a couple of surprise pops I had during the movie that I'll like highlight as I get to them, but there may be some other ones that I missed.
I mean, obviously, we get Johnny Depp, Edward Scissorhands. The role considered for the role as well, Shawn. Tom Cruise, Jim Carrey, Robert Downey Jr. Completely different movie if it's any of those people.
Wow.
Apparently, Tom Cruise couldn't wrap his brain around what I'm going to call vertebrae isms. He wanted to know how he went to the bathroom. He wanted to know how he gets his clothes off. He was very confused.
How does he brush his teeth?
Yeah. Yes. But Winona Ryder, Kim, Diane Weist as Peg. She is phenomenal in this movie. Anthony Michael Hall, Shawn, as the first time we've seen him as a jerk.
Jagoff boyfriend. Hate him so much. So
this
hateable.
becomes the new era of Anthony Michael Hall.
So
last time we see him.
This is Breakfast Club kid, right?
Yes, and 16 Candles, and he's the nerdy kid, and everybody likes him. And then we get Alan Arkin is phenomenal as the father. I watching this now, I relate to him more than I did when I saw it back in the day. He's just plodding along as he's hanging up stuff, and he's like, all right, I'll go look for him. He could care less. They bring this guy with scissors for
I was going to say,
home,
you wouldn't let no Scissorhands dude live in your house, I don't think.
I don't know.
But I think you'd let him trim your hedges while you drank a beer and watched a football game.
Yeah.
You'd be like, go Birds. Go Birds. Yeah, great job, Edward. Go Birds.
But, and then Vincent Price as his last role. So Vincent Price was supposed to be in this movie a lot more, Shawn. Unfortunately, he got sick and he was dealing with Alzheimer's and dealing with other things. So this ends up being his last role, which is kind of minimal for him. He wanted to be bigger. Vincent Price, a legend. I think eventually we should get to a Vincent Price, if not more than one Vincent Price film. So we get the incredible score by Danny Elfman. Iconic score, Shawn.
Also creator of The Simpsons. Oh, and Vertebrae's reach behind him. We'll post this on the socials. He's got the Edward Scissorhands vinyl. Check it out on our YouTube page. So sick.
So, fun fact for Danny Elfman. Here's some deep Vertebrae 33 lore. And if anyone finds this, they will get a huge prize pack from me. So if you're listening and you want to go on a Easter egg hunt here. I was once in, not under Vertebrae 33 name, under my real name. Surprise, surprise. Vertebrae is not my real name, if you have been listening for a couple of years. But in a magazine called Tattoo Savage, where they did a feature on my artwork at the time. And it was these creatures that I was drawing. And also in the issue and on the cover, Danny Elfman.
Sick.
Yeah. So very, very
You have that?
I do have it.
That's badass. Very cool. Yeah.
I have it, but I want to see if I'm about to lose my voice, I think, Shawn.
He's going. He's tapping out. I see it. He's reaching the finish line, and we haven't started the podcast yet. No,
it's okay.
I'm going to help you through this. Vertebrae does the explainy bits in the beginning, and I do the explainy bits for the rest, while Vertebrae gives us his gnarly bits throughout.
The soundtrack, they originally wanted Robert Smith and The Cure to do this, but they were working on Disintegration, so they couldn't do it. So we get Elfman in this iconic score, which leads to this amazing relationship with the two of them. We still get the Robert Smith hair. Disintegration is an incredible Cure album, so no problems there. It's not like they put out a stinker in its place. So I think I'm ready to start. When did you first see this movie, Shawn?
I don't know if I saw this in theaters. I may have. I know that throughout my lifetime, this would be a film that would just be on TV all the time. So I've watched it through bits and pieces of that. I honestly haven't sat down and watched this movie in full probably since the 90s. And when it was voted, I was like, man, this is going to be a weird one. And as I'm sitting here, I was sitting there watching, I was like, God damn. This is a phenomenal movie, and my fiance, who usually sits next to me reading books while I'm watching these movies, like had the book down and was like fully engulfed in this movie and everything that was going on. And even in the beginning, she was like, Edward Scissorhands. And then at the end, she was like, oh man, that was a really good movie. So yeah, no, this is a phenomenal film. I can't remember the last time I watched it, but like, what was The Crow? 92, 93, and that had like the Robert Smith from the Cure. So if that had happened and they got Robert Smith and they get the Cure song, so would Edward Scissorhands ends up just being like The Crow, directed by Tim Burton?
I wonder.
To
I mean,
another completely different movie.
he had this idea a long time ago, right, from the drawing. So well before you would have seen The Crow, he had the drawing, which we can put on the socials. So I think it's just sometimes you get a culmination of things at a certain time. They just hit the zeitgeist, as they say, at the right time, and everybody is tuned in. Shawn, I got a copy of it on DVD, an anniversary copy in the Steelbook.
We'll post that on the socials too, as long as Vertebrae sends me all these pictures of all this cool shit that he has.
No, I'm gonna go to sleep as soon as this.
I know. He's got his cough drops. He's got his elbow full of snot. We're gonna get him through this. Get him some Robitussin. Get him all lifted before the movie.
Need the tussin.
Shall we get into it? Are you ready for episode 139, voted by the In Madness Psychopaths? We put up this voting poll, and here we go with Edward Scissorhands. We also said we might start off the new year with a voting poll, so we got to discuss that too. One thing at a time. We're still trying to get to next week. Episode 139, Edward Scissorhands. I love Tim Burton. I love the feel, the gothicness, the big, beautiful music always in his movies. They all have it's like Tarantino. You're watching a Tarantino film, you know it. You're watching a Tim Burton film, you know it's Tim Burton. And the tag team of him with Danny Elfman is just, that's tag team championship powerhouse shit right there. So we got lots of snow. Grandma telling bedtime stories of a man with scissor hands named named Edward Scissorhands from the haunted mansion on top of the dark mountain.
And Shawn, this has very Nightmare Before Christmas vibes at the beginning too, with his classic look. This is 3 years before that comes out. That doesn't go into production until July of 91. There is a lot of people that say that there's an early version of Oogie Boogie in the house. There's that big figure that's there, and that's an early version of him, which is very cool. But the snowy, I love when they do something with the 20th Century Fox logo. It's very cool, and in this case, it's snowy. I will put this out there right now, Shawn. Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie.
That does get discussed in the notes. Yeah, and I would fully agree with that. So put it on the list with Die Hard. Make those seasonal watches for you, Edward Scissorhands and Die Hard. We have the inventor who created this man, just like Frankenstein and his monster, which we were coincidentally discussing last week. The inventor died before finishing his monster, who is Edward, who now lives in this mansion all alone.
Yeah, and she's got grandma's telling the story. We're not sure who grandma is yet. She's got a whole bunch of snow globes out there, Shawn. Maybe there's a way we could drag this into the Krampus universe. I love that the man gave him a heart and a brain. Cool little nod to the Wizard of Oz right there as well. And listen, we love Vincent Price. I love cool old school inventors with giant laboratories. But man, he could have just picked up the pace a little bit and gave this poor fella some hands.
If it was just one day sooner.
But then that kind of doesn't make him who he is.
Yes.
Right. So we get a lot of that in this movie about fitting in, Shawn. So this strikes me very hard when I first see this movie about fitting in, trying to fit into suburbia, trying to fit into what is the norm. I think a lot of kids these days have it a little bit different. I think the world is much more open to people doing different things that they want to do with themselves and with their bodies and with their look and what they listen to. This is 1990. Everyone is not as open. It's the beginning of people kind of trying to open up. And, you've got I can relate to this, right? You got the weird kid, his goth clothes. He's not he's not going to be good at sports. He's going to pop every ball. There's no way, he can't fit into this cookie cutter town that they have. So this hits everybody at a perfect time, I think.
We go from this dark mansion to these bright, vibrant colors of this neighborhood that the mansion looks down upon. We got the nice, sweet Avon lady knocking on doors. A lady opens her door. Do you know who this lady is who opens the door?
Yeah, she was on She's been in a lot of things. She was on 2.5 Men.
But most
TV show.
specifically, do you know what she was from?
Pee-wee.
Our very first movie. She's the
Oh,
aunt
Krampus.
in Krampus.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I
Sorry
was
about
like,
that.
where do I know her from? And then when it popped up Krampus, I was like, oh, coming full circle 3 years later on In
Right.
Madness Pod.
And
How
you know what's
awesome.
funny, Shawn? Avon salesperson. Wow. That's a
old.
moment
That's like,
in time.
Yeah, that's like VHS tape right
So we've
there.
got Avon salesperson. We've got no cell phones. We can kind of close a lot of loops here very quickly. We've got phones. We've got this whole town of women that like to communicate when their husbands are gone and talk about each other, and we'll go through that cycle. But Shawn, when they were originally envisioning this neighborhood, they thought of Levittown, New York.
Oh shit, my home. I mean, pretty much my hometown.
Yeah, and they said,
Wild.
where real estate developers were basically bypassing zone codes and streamlining construction. So in a lot of cases, they did build like cheaper, similar looking homes, right? In that case, I think a lot of the houses don't have basements, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly.
Correct.
So they don't get that. What they get is an actual neighborhood in Florida. Carpenter's Run, it's called. A cheaply bankrolled neighborhood by this Pittsburgh real estate developer. And they paint this entire neighborhood these colors for this. Now, it's supposed to be Edward's view. So this is how he views this neighborhood, right? It's compared to where he lives. It's this bright color. Although, I mean, I would much rather live where Edward lives. But this bright colored neighborhood, these weird pastel colors. Everyone's got like between 50s and 70s decor going on. I think it kind of caps out at like mid 80s, like style. And they took out some trees, and later on that was in Florida, and then later on they'll go to like located near Tampa. There's a mall that's there where they end up going to that area with the mall. But yeah, they filmed in a real neighborhood. There's actually a Terminex tent in the background when she's doing her thing.
Yeah, I did. And it looks like a
orange and
clown tent.
green.
It's like orange and green. That was really cool. I was wondering if there was going to be more.
So
to
they
that.
just did that as a tent. There's a rumor online, and I don't know this to be true, that they were still working in the neighborhood and that house was unfinished. So they just tented it up. But I don't know. I'm not really sure.
It's a good way to cover it up. Poor Avon lady can't sell shit, having a bad day until she sees the dark mansion up on the hill, Castle Grayskull, kind of like the Addams family house, and up on her way she goes. There's all these shrubs carved into animals, kind of like I think how they were supposed to be in the book The Shining, because it wasn't a hedge maze. It was like these gigantic animal shrubs or something.
Yeah, very cool.
The Avon lady is very persistent. She breaks into the mansion. The house is very dark, covered in webs. We see a big-ass laboratory, and I'm like, oh, that's a huge pop from Vertebrae.
Love it. And also, Shawn, I will tell you this. Like, we see this messed up yard. We see this, right, the messed up place, and then we go through it, and then it's beautiful. One of the shrubberies is a hand. And he doesn't have hands, so he's making his own. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. In some ways, Shawn, she's a very sweet lady. She means well. She wants to, she feels bad for Edward when she discovers him, but you can't help but wonder, like, if we just left well enough alone. Well, I guess he doesn't ultimately like fall in love, and he doesn't really know what the world is like, but he gets a crash course on how awful the outside world is. And just goes to what I tell you, Shawn, nothing good comes from leaving your house. I've told you this 100 times.
And having friends.
Yeah, you see what happens?
See what happens?
And it all falls apart.
Oh, poor Vertebrae. And I'm like the Avon lady, just trying to get poor Edward out to the concerts, and he gets sick.
Yeah, this one, though, we can't blame on you. This is from other
for once.
Yeah.
She meets Edward. He's creeping in a low corner. He's dressed in all black, kind of like how the Crow was a couple of years later with this like dominatrix leathery suit on. He creeps toward her. She's fascinated and scared by his gigantic scissor hands. And he's like, I'm not finished, shaking his hands in her face. He's up there all alone. So naturally, she takes him home with her.
Yeah, that is. And it's funny. There's so much of this film that you have to, this is a fairy tale, so we have to suspend belief on certain points. If you get bogged down with the logistics, and if you're a long time listener, you're gonna be like, wait. You're okay with giving a pass on the logistics versus, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Ah,
But yes, if you get bogged down by what makes sense, yeah, she's a sweet, wonderful lady, but that is sudden. That is out of nowhere. She has kids in the house. That is pretty insane. But I love it because we immediately cut to that, and then we just cut to them in the car, which is hilarious.
so now all the locals are playing phone tag, gossiping about the new person the Avon lady is driving around with. She's showing Ed pics of her family and her daughter, Winona Ryder, and immediately he falls in love.
Well, I mean, he sees the first girl he's ever seen in his life besides the Avon lady, Peg. And Shawn, when they're in the car and they're driving, it was very much like Johnny Depp played this kind of like he's almost like a dog, like he was a stray dog that she picked up, because he's staring out the window and he bunks his head on the glass when he goes to look outside, and he's just got this smile on his face, like he is happy. Like at this moment, you feel like, wow, this is awesome. I feel like this is a metaphor for like every kid who starts the school year off with like, this year's gonna be different.
And then
by
he
the
meets
middle,
a new bully this year.
yeah, then you meet the new bully, and then you lose your lunch money and whatever else, and get picked.
Super
Glass-
wedgies,
Yes.
wet willies, pink bellies.
Yeah.
Poor Edward's having a hard time with his hands. He's cutting his face. He's popping water beds. He can't dress in his new clothes that the Avon lady gave him.
Yeah, I was wondering right away. I'm like, so like you didn't give him hands, but you gave him an outfit with a ton of buckles. I think it's implied that the outfit is actually his body. And when she covers him up, it's kind of like he's wearing clothes.
Uh-huh. So that's him nude in the leather.
Basically, I think, right? I don't think we don't get into it. Listen, we certainly don't get into the anatomy of Edward Scissorhands. I think Joyce was taking a big risk later on in the movie. But, maybe the guy just didn't get to a lot of things. There's scissors all over the place.
He does look like a Hellboy villain the more that I'm thinking about it. Since we're speaking of GDT.
But he very much, he pops I'll give you the one logistic thing that bothers me. He pops a hole in the waterbed, but later on the waterbed is fine.
Yeah, he does it twice. He does it later on, like it really pops it.
Well, that pops, but this hole in it, this thing should have been drained. And also I put in my notes, waterbed. Like I knew one person that had a waterbed.
Hated it.
Yeah, I thought that was a moment in time, man, that people
Terrible
thought that was like really cool. Yes.
No, hated that. I get motion sickness and just like, I was like, no, fuck this. Are you kidding me?
It is kind of gross to think that you just be sitting on this giant mound of dirty water. Like it's just water. It's just, I don't know.
Terrible.
If it get hot, does it like, evaporate inside, or
it just starts sinking on one end?
I don't even know. Yeah, that's a bad. And like if you have a house and you put that on the second floor, a waterbed on the second floor, that's crazy. Call us, let us know. Write in, tell us if you have a waterbed.
Have you ever had a waterbed?
I don't. Do they even sell waterbeds anymore?
I don't think that's a thing. I think that was a prime '90s thing.
Yeah, I think it was first in the 70s. I think that was a big deal, like waterbeds and lava lamps, and you get your, or maybe even the 60s, Shawn, get a little shagadelic with your waterbed. But wow, crazy.
All the neighborhood gossips begin gathering around the Avon lady's house. The Avon family lady is trying to eat dinner. They're staring at poor Edward, who can't seem to feed himself. And then this is when I realize, I'm like, where do I know this kid from? He is the son from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I was like, I know this kid's face from somewhere.
And also when they're going through the neighborhood, Shawn, if we back up a second, there's a little kid that we see run and slide on the slip and slide. That little kid, Nick Carter, who goes on to be in the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, wow. Gnarly bits. Avon lady's doing her best to cover Ed's scars with all this Avon cream, but she's like just glopping cake batter on his face.
This scene where he's eating and with the family and trying to pick up the food, and he's got the pea on the one, and his dad is just
staring.
His dad's awesome, but he's just nonplussed. He doesn't care. He just starts talking about whatever. He'll just get into logistics later on. He's getting into, get a business. You need a bank loan.
401k. Yeah.
It's awesome.
So outside, Dad's trimming the hedges, but here comes Ed, making himself useful with his gigantic scissor hands and makes a giant T-Rex out of this bush. So
Very
now Dad sees an opportunity. So Ed's doing all the trimming, and Dad's watching bowling, drinking beer while Edward's trimming the hedges, and he makes a little family of hedges of the actual family he's hanging out with.
And it's so funny too, you know, when we first see this neighborhood, Shawn, I don't see a lot of hedges.
But boy, do they pop up quick.
Yeah.
And the dog population as well. But then we got Miss Carmody next door comes over talking about how Edward Scissorhands is straight from hell.
Oh my God. So I'm watching this with Mrs. Vertebrae last night. And she's like, oh my God, it's the lady from The Mist. And I'm like, and I'm like, well, it's not the same actress, but like she essentially plays the same exact role.
Miss Carmody, the town psycho. Now all the gossips are knocking on the Avon ladies' door because they all want to bang Edward Scissorhands. Avon ladies making deviled eggs, my favorite. I made deviled eggs for Thanksgiving. It was okay. Did you make anything for Thanksgiving? Do you have your specialty?
No.
You didn't touch anything with your snotty hands?
No, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to touch any food right now.
Ed's helping in the kitchen, but then just like fire in the sky in the kitchen, this dude has a flashback, but it is way less nightmarish. The machines are making, I guess, bread or cookies or dough or something.
No, they're making cookies because we see in the opening credits, we see the cookies. It's like a heart and they're like Christmas cookies kind of raining down as they're doing a montage of the cool credits in the beginning. And we see them there. Listen, he's a classic inventor. He's going to come up with different stuff. Even the people that are the cutters for the cookies are like the feet of robots that are, they look like robots that are kind of just like clanging down. But I love that kind of whimsical, like, you know, it's unnecessary to have it look like a person with the feet, but they, you know, when they do that, it's like so cool. It just adds an extra touch. That is very Tim Burton. It's also very GDT. They will do that a lot, which is very old school. You know, Burton's look too, Shawn. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention artist Edward Gorey, and we can put up stuff from Edward Gorey, but he kind of was inspired by him. And, you know, Tim Burton was an illustrator and famously worked at Disney for a while and all this stuff. But we'll put up some Edward Gorey stuff and let everyone see it. But I can't help but think that naming him Edward was a nod to that artist as well.
We see Edward's creator, as you said, is Vincent Price, voice of Thriller, which I am putting now on the In Madness Spotify playlist. Also listening to him, I was like, oh, is this the dude who does the voice of Brain from Pinky and the Brain? It is not. It turns out the dude who does the voice of Brain does a spot-on Vincent Price impression, which is what he did for the voice of Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Yeah,
and Vincent Price, iconic actor. I believe he was a director as well. Just a ton of old horror films that we should just pick a random one and watch at one time. But all over all those Saturday afternoon horror movies, those creature double features, he's in a million of them. So Burton has grown up watching this, and now he gets the chance to put him in his movie, which is incredible. Listen, Shawn, Batman comes out in 1989. He's come from obscurity to Batman to Edward Scissor, the run that he gets on now, and then Nightmare Before Christmas. These, you know, he just pumps out classic after classic after classic. And he's doing what the smart people do. He's inspired by what he grew up on, and he's integrating it in. In this case, he gets the chance to have Vincent Price in there. Also, when Edward is trying to sleep, Shawn, right before that, he has his hands kind of up. I don't have my scissors anymore. They're
like a cat.
And I can't help but think, reminds me a little bit of The Elephant Man. And obviously the tragedy of the Elephant Man in that story. And if you've ever seen that film, what an incredible, incredible film that is, right? But he wants to just sleep just like the little boy in the picture in his room, and he's not able to because of his deformity. And I feel like this is a little bit of a nod to that, right? And also just, you know, a stranger in a strange land, trying to fit into this new world. Makes me wonder what his bedroom looked like in the castle.
Tattered, destroyed. Either that
And
or like super foamed
also,
up.
too, does he even need to sleep? I
Yeah.
don't know that he needs to eat. I don't know that he needs to sleep. I hope he doesn't go to the bathroom because I don't know how that happens.
Oh my lord, I didn't even think about that.
Right. So he's just created. So I don't even think, I think he's just sort of laying there to be like them. You know what I mean? I think in the castle, he's probably just up all the time.
What a nightmare. What was it? What was it? From It, a perpetual torment.
I mean, not if you're into it.
Yeah, he seems to be into it. He's got a shrubbery at the end.
You're a video game guy. Do you get on a run and play a video game till 3, 4 o'clock in the
No,
morning?
not anymore. Now I'll be
But you
playing
did,
it, and then yeah,
that's his entire life. It's not like he
Yeah.
has to report to work the next day. He
That's
just walks
for
around,
real.
takes care of the shrubs, and hangs out. It's not bad.
The creator makes a cookie heart. He places the heart over one of his robots, like he's having a vision, like Geppetto and Pinocchio. Ed's at the family barbecue. He's getting medical advice from the doctors about his hands. He's getting hit on by the town MILFs. He's getting his balls busted by the golfer bros, just trying to fit in.
Yeah, that's and he meets, there's like an older guy that comes over to him and he's at the grill and he's doing the shish kebab. And he tells him, we'll see him later. But at that point, he tells him, don't let anyone call him a cripple. And he has no feeling from the war. And then when we get to it later, I want to point that guy out again.
We got Joyce, the head gossip in charge. She's all over Ed like butter on toast. But Ed's having a flashback of his creator. We see the plans for Ed, the creation of Ed. Vincent Price reading him books about etiquette and poetry.
But not giving him hands.
No hands yet. Not you got to learn about the poetry first before you get the hands. Then Winona comes home, none too pleased to find Edward in her waterbed. He now pokes a million holes in it, shooting water everywhere.
Right, rightfully, she freaks out. She thinks they're weapons. Right, he has an axe. He has something. Rightfully, Shawn. She comes home and there's some dude in a bed with scissors in his hands. Nobody in this entire movie stops and says, this doesn't make any sense to us. Where did this guy come from? What happened to his hands?
When was Nightmare on Elm Street? Was that before this?
After 93.
After. I mean, that's big inspiration. We got Dad and Ed getting drunk. He tells
wait. You said Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm thinking Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. When was Freddy Krueger? That was before this, right? Yeah, definitely.
Let's see what
that
you
80 something.
We did the movie, folks,
We
but
did
we
the
keep
movie.
everything on short-term memory.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, if you look it up. For now, Dad tells Ed that whiskey is lemonade. So the next day, Joyce is hitting on Ed, and she's like, "You want to try some lemonade?" And immediately, Ed starts puking because Dad got him drunk as hell the night before.
84.
So I think there's a little Freddy Krueger inspiration in Mr.
With the bed and everything. Absolutely. Isn't, our buddy Johnny Depp is in?
That is his debut. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at everything coming around.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Great mind. The son from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, he takes Edward to show and tell and shows him off. Like, it was funny because when they're sitting at dinner, he's like, "Oh man, one jab to a guy's neck and it's all over." And then he's at show and tell and he's like, "One jab to a guy's neck and it's all over." And everybody loves Edward.
And Edward throws the knives up and all the kids jump back. Like, he throws the hands up with the scissors and they all jump back. Pretty funny.
So now we got dickhead boyfriend, Winona's boyfriend, kid from Breakfast Club. Her and her BFF come over for dinner and they're all laughing at poor Ed.
Yeah, so Jim is the world is first introduced to asshole Anthony Michael Hall in this, Shawn. This is when it happens, right? We was the cute kid that's kind of a little bit weird before, and then he takes that role on in a lot of films after this.
Billy Badass over here. But Edward's a hit in town. He's cutting everybody's shrubbery. Dad wants him to start charging, making a business out of it. Ed's also getting into the poodle trimming business, and now all the MILFs want their dog's haircut. But that's not enough for the head one in charge, Joyce. She wants to be the first to get a haircut from Edward on her own hair. Now, Ed's the most popular dude in town.
Yeah.
But he's in love with Winona. Now he's on like the Jerry Springer show or something because he's got scissor hands.
So that's John Davidson. John
Okay.
Davidson is a famous game show host. Hosted
Okay.
Time Machine, Hollywood Squares. Shawn, he was the host of That's Incredible. Remember that
Okay.
show, That's Incredible? And he was on 100,000 Pyramid in 91 when they did the revival. So he's a real TV host.
Well, they're talking about him and how he lives his life, and if he's in love with anybody. And there's this point where Winona's watching him on TV, and he's looking at the camera, knowing that she's watching. He's about to say that he's in love, but his gigantic scissor hands cut the mic cord, and he gets electrocuted.
Rough. And the whole time, Jim is her boyfriend, her evil boyfriend, is making fun of
Just laughing
him
at
on TV. He wishes he had recorded. He'd give up his left nut to watch that again, is what he says. And
Worst human on earth.
awful.
Him and what's the dude from It? Bowers. They're peas in a pod, those two.
Maybe they're related. Maybe we can find out.
Yeah, brothers, I'm sure. Joyce is helping Ed find a new hair salon to cut hair, but she's also doing everything she can to bang him.
Yeah, which is like, and then when rejected, this is where it starts to turn.
Yeah. Dad, who seems a little jealous about Edward's new business venture, but still helpful, is telling him you got to go to the bank and get a loan. But Ed gets denied a loan because there's no history of him even being alive.
And this is also the dad. He's the, I think he's the grandpa in the Santa Claus movies. The Tim Allen.
He reminded me of the drunk next door from Gremlins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got that vibe from him.
But I love him in this role. He's just plodding along and doing what they need of him, trying to be supportive. He just wants to be left alone, watch the game, drink a beer, and get like whatever he needs to get done at the house.
So now Winona's dickhead boyfriend wants Edward to help him steal some money, but then Edward ends up getting locked in the house by the security system and busted by the cops.
Yeah, absolutely insane. So his dad lives in that same neighborhood, which doesn't seem that big. And rather than upgrading his actual home, Shawn, he just takes one of the rooms and turns it into like Fort Knox. Kind of so silly, his own little room. Like, this is how little he trusts his own son. We never see this kid's parents. Ever. They're not in the movie. He doesn't even have a last name. He's just Jim.
Probably because he's such a dickhead.
Yeah.
But now here comes Channel 11 News, and they want to talk to Edward about the whole robbery situation. Now the whole town has turned against Edward.
Yeah, and when the cops come, classic, drop your weapons, right? The cops drop your weapons. He's coming closer with the knife. And we meet the police officer who is just like Peg, simultaneously sympathetic and idiotic later on at the same time. Like, he means well. He means well, but and he has sympathy for him for sure.
But now Winona is stoked on Edward. She's happy that Edward didn't rat out her and her scumbag boyfriend. Edward gets pissed because here comes scumbag boyfriend to pick up Winona. So Edward's shredding the drapery and shredding the wallpaper in the bathroom with his gigantic claws.
Yeah, that's when he's up against the mirror and he's just shredding and shredding and shredding. And I get it. I feel bad for him. I also, it's like, come on, man, be cool. Like, they let you into their lives, Don't
tear their shit up.
The home. And then he gets a lecture about it.
But the fam is decorating for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Lock it in on your buzzer. This is definitely a Christmas movie.
Or not only are they decorating for Christmas, but they're decorating for their annual Christmas party that now nobody wants to attend. So how quickly, Shawn, this turns, how quickly this group of people in this town turn on him. They love him. He's different. He's so cool. We don't like him. They can't think on their own. They all just go at it, again. And now it's, we hate him. Whatever they're doing to keep up with each other, probably to keep up with Joyce in some way. Now it's just, forget this guy. And he's evil, right? We've gone to he's evil.
Not only that, the family has the white tree from Goodfellas. They're having a party, but all the town gossips are talking smack about Edward and the family playing phone tag. Ed's carving an ice sculpture of an angel in the front yard, making it snow with his lightning scissors. And here comes Winona dancing in the snow. She's slowly falling in love with Edward.
Absolutely cool. Don't know where they got that giant piece of ice from, but very cool. Very cool.
Till dickhead boyfriend comes through and yells, scares Edward, who accidentally slashes Winona. So dickhead starts screaming at Edward, calling him a freak.
Yeah, and he doesn't really care for her. He just wanted a reason to fight him.
Ed's pissed. He storms out of the house. He's chopping off all his human clothes. He's decapitating shrubbery. He's slashing tires, freaking out. So the town gossips call the cops.
And I love it. He goes to the religious lady's house and he cuts her shrubbery to look like a devil.
And
So when
puts
she
it out her
opens her
window.
window, so it's right. The shrubbery by her window is right there. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. But yes, this is, and every teenager who's watching this movie can relate to being overwhelmed and just storming off and not fitting in and not feeling like now you don't even fit in with your own family and you can't do anything right. Yeah, this connects to everybody.
Now Avon mom feels bad. Everything that's happened to Edward after she brought him back, she feels like she should have just left him up at the castle to be alone in the dark.
Yeah, and that they come in to get him when he's he's there when he's arrested, Shawn, and the dad's like, "Well, Edward, you got to make sure you do this," and I love it. I just love his sort of healthy take on all this.
Yeah. If you find $1 million, what do you do? Do you call the cops? But Ed returns to Winona's house. She gives him a long hug. He has a flashback to his creator giving him a Christmas present, because this is a Christmas movie. Normal hands. Edward is delighted until his creator, Vincent Price, dies right in front of him with the hands. He falls with the hands, and his little 9 fingers shred the hands. His hopes and dreams and his creator all dead in front of him.
Worst Christmas ever, I'll say, Shawn. Got to be the worst.
Worse
Christmas
than
ever.
the Gremlins girl?
Well, what I was going to say, it's so funny you should say that. What I was going to say is worst Christmas ever, yet he handles it better because he doesn't lead with that to Winona. He doesn't even tell her that story. Imagine, like, if this is Gremlins, then they're going to tell the whole story about how his dad was right there with the hands and then he died, right?
Close.
But he just internalizes all of this. He doesn't know any better but to keep it to himself, this pain that he's feeling, right? And it's this pain is being motivating him when he creates art and when he creates ice sculptures in the hedges and stuff. You see that he's turning this sort of pain and suffering and this internal feeling into something that makes him feel better, to be creative. That's very much Tim Burton, very much a lot of artists.
But now dickhead boyfriend's drunk, driving back to Winona's house and almost runs over her brother from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids until Edward saves the brother. But in the process, he ends up, cutting the kid up a little bit, and even an innocent bystander, because he's got this gigantic scissor hands.
Yeah, and when the kid is walking, there's an old man that asks about the cripple. And before he said to him, "Don't let anyone call you a cripple." But he says, "Here, have you seen the cripple around or whatever?" That guy is the doctor who delivers the penguin in Batman Returns.
Whoa. And the parents of the penguin in Batman Returns, one of them is Pee Wee Herman, I think. So everyone's yelling, screaming at Edward. Dickhead boyfriend attacks him, but Edward slashes him too. The cops are coming. Winona tells Edward to bail, so he runs back to his castle. But now the townspeople have formed an angry mob and want to tear Edward and his home apart until Winona sneaks her way in to save him.
Shawn, that cop, what a sweet guy. Pulls up, fires the gun, run away, Edward. But he leaves. So he just leaves the angry mob there. I would have just said, yeah, I shot and killed him.
He's
leave
dead.
It alone, right?
Yeah.
Go away. Just leave the dude alone. He just circles around. He's like, I've had enough of this area. I'm out of here. Deal with it yourself. But so he's simultaneously helping him, but not really helping him.
Winona finds Edward in a corner, just like he was in the beginning of the movie. They're about to make out until here comes Dickhead once again. He's got a gun, and now he's shooting at Edward and tries to do it, but he's kicking his ass and tells Winona to get the hell out of there. But Winona grabs his giant stick and until the boyfriend slaps Winona.
Yes, and that's Edward being like, "That's me in the corner, that's me in the spotlight now, losing my hands."
Which, my friends, brings me to my milking of the alpacas moment.
Milking of the alpacas moment.
Because I didn't see this coming at all. Finally, Edward stabs dickhead boyfriend in the gut with his scissor hands, pushes him out a window, killing him. Good. Kid sucked.
Yeah, I mean, if you repeated viewings of this movie, they are really setting him up to be killed. He has no, just like that old hardcore band, Shawn, he has no redeeming social value, Jim. Zero.
Terrible kid. Him and Bowers, just the worst. But now Edward's screwed. All the townspeople are pissed. Edward kisses Winona goodbye. She tells him she loves him. And now he is alone all over again.
Fantastic.
This is my dream situation. He tells the angry mob Edward is dead. The roof caved in on him. And the townspeople buy the story and they all head home.
The townspeople are like, we're out of here. The one lady's like, oh, I'm going home. There's just a dead kid there on the ground. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
It's like Halloween 2 all over again.
They just leave. So what happens to this body? Do the police come to investigate? Like, what is the follow-up to this is interesting, right? Because we'll get to a little more of it soon. But like, everyone just dispersed. They really don't care about anyone but themselves.
The town gossips. All they care about is gossip. We cut back to Grandma telling her granddaughter her story from the beginning of the film. She says she never saw Edward again. And it turns out Grandma is Winona Ryder.
There you go.
Her granddaughter tells her to go back to Edward. We see Edward making a nice life for himself in his castle with all of his shrubbery. Grandkid asks Grandma how she knows Edward is still alive. She says before Edward, it never snowed. After he left, it did. And sometimes she still dances in it. Oh, not a dry eye in the house.
Yeah, and I love Shawn. I didn't mention it before, but the fact that this house is just at the end of this like courtyard on this giant like hill out of nowhere. Like everything is a certain look, and then we just get to this. I put in my notes earlier that that's the house that if Shawn and I were looking for homes, that'd be the one that we asked about.
That'd be our podcast studio.
Yes.
Edward is in his mansion, chopping up blocks of ice, making it snow all over town.
Where does he get the ice
Just
from?
Let
Shawn?
us end the movie on a good note. The end. Good movie. Now let's get into vertebrae semantics. Where does he get this ice from?
Yeah, where does he get ice? Where does he get electricity? Does he need to eat food? Does he not? What a beautiful film, Shawn. I say that jokingly. None of that really matters. What a wonderful story. This viewing, though, for some reason, I'm like, oh, so she's a grandmom. So she had a kid, and her kid had a kid, right? Okay, we all understand that, but like she moved on, but also she's aging and he's not. He looks exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they had stayed together in some capacity, that's going to end up getting really, really sad for the two of them. And she's not going to ever live like, a normal life. But I guess she also just stays in that neighborhood, which is kind of sad too.
She can't leave Edward. She just needs to know that he's near and that he's okay. She knows he's alive.
I wonder if the husband knows about him. At least we know they closed the door on Jim. She never changed her mind and never got with Jim because Jim.
I wonder if his body is still there.
Probably is
covered in snow.
It's just like all the. Well, no, by now all the plants and stuff probably grow really well in that area.
I'm sure the rats got to him by now.
I would think so. And that's the other thing too. I wonder if maybe Edward he didn't have a pet. And Shawn, a lot of people asked Tim Burton about a sequel to this. Because when you create a world like this and we get glimpses of it, especially now, people would be desperate to have a prequel to this, to meet him when he was getting created and go through all that stuff. You'd have to have somebody else be the Vincent Price character. And he never wanted to touch it. And I think, although I would love more of this, I'm so happy he never touched it. And I'll tell you, one of the things too is like an example of like why you don't touch things is like they have touched this movie for promotional purposes for DVDs, and even when you watch it on like HBO Max or whatever, and they have the worst Photoshop jobs where they have her arms around Edward making a heart with her hands and like all of this really, really corny stuff that just takes away from kind of the magic of this film. It is a love story. It is an emo love story. It is Frankenstein. We do have the angry townspeople coming to burn the place down, so to speak. But untouched, I think, is super important. I think we can all go on with the rest of our lives wondering what if, but we don't need to ever see it.
Well, now they're making the Thing too, apparently. You seen this?
Well, I mean, Carpenter's been talking about the Thing too for a while. I have. Oh, so Shawn,
Uh-oh.
I have in my weirdness with, I have very elaborate dreams. And on the next episode, I want to talk about this.
Yes.
But I also have very elaborate when I'm sick, slight temperature dreams.
Yeah.
So I had a dream. We'll tease it. I had a dream 2 weeks ago where I had a sequel. I came up with a sequel in my dream for Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Okay.
That would bring, I think I might have texted you that one. That would bring it all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
And the other night, 2 nights ago, I had a dream that was the sequel to the Thing. Must have been on my head.
Okay.
I must have thought about it, and I will work through it with you on the next episode. But maybe tonight I go to bed and I come up with a sequel for Edward Scissorhands.
Tim Burton's not going to be interested.
Not going to be interested. But I think I get Carpenter on the phone for the other one.
Did we do this? Did we do Edward Scissorhands in one episode?
We did Edward Scissorhands in one episode. Thank you for dealing with me. A million.
You did good. You're like, I'm not going to talk too much, but then he had so many Edward Scissorhands gnarly bits. I know this was a big one for Vertebrae. I'm sure he fixed the voting polls, so this one, I'm certain about it till this day. As much as I tried to fix it so Godzilla would win, Vertebrae is 33 times smarter than I am and was able to make it so Edward Scissorhands won. But a lot of the In Madness family wanted this. I'm glad we gave it to them. We already have plans for what we're going to do for Christmas. I think we've teased it in other episodes. But we still got a couple weeks to go till we get there. We're still in our Thanksgiving. We still got to work off these 5-10 pounds of mashed potatoes and get rid of my rancid deviled egg farts that I've had for 3 days now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. We record this at our own homes.
Yeah. I got to make you some deviled eggs, and we'll have a rancid fart contest in your igloo.
It'll melt.
But with that being said, that is episode 139. You got all your gnarly bits in for Edward Scissorhands?
I think honestly I could have done more. If you guys have stuff that I missed, because I'm sure I missed a lot on this one, being a little under the weather, send them in. We'd love to hear about it. If you got any fun facts, any Tim Burton stuff. We did not dive into Tim Burton as much as I wanted to. I just didn't have the voice to get into all the notes, but appreciate anyone listening.
Even when half of In Madness is sick, we still sound better than a million other podcasts. We want to hear your favorite In Madness moment of the year as well on the socials at In Madness Pod, inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Send emails, send voice notes. We go through it all. We read it. We're probably going to dip into the mail sack in our next episode. Letters to Santa, whatever you want to send us, inmadnesspod@gmail.com, at inmadnesspod on the socials. We will see you next week for whatever fun adventures we will bring you for episode 140, getting up to the 3-year anniversary of In Madness Pod.